My wife cheating on me is the best thing that could have happened to me. I never thought that I would be saying this, but my wife cheating on me was the best thing that could have happened to me. It was a painful experience, but in hindsight, it was the push that I needed to pursue my life's interests and find happiness. When I first found out about my wife's infidelity, I was devastated. It was a typical Tuesday evening when I arrived home from work, exhausted and ready to collapse on the couch. But as soon as I walked through the door, I knew that something was wrong. My wife, normally so affectionate, was cold and distant. She barely looked up from her phone as I tried to make conversation. And then, when I walked past her to get a drink from the kitchen, I saw it. A message from her boss at work, popping up on her phone screen. I tried to ignore it, but the words caught my eye. They were intimate, too intimate for a professional relationship. And then, when I scrolled up, I saw the evidence that I had been dreading. Explicit messages between my wife and her boss, detailing their affair in graphic detail. I felt sick to my stomach as I read them, each word like a dagger in my heart. I confronted her, of course, and she tried to deny it at first, but the evidence was there, plain as day. And so, with a heavy heart, I knew that our marriage was over. I had always thought that we were happy together, but apparently she had other ideas. It was like a knife to the heart when I saw that message. In the weeks that followed, we went through the painful process of divorce. It was hard, but I knew that it was the right decision. I didn't want to be with someone who didn't respect me or our marriage. The thing that surprised me the most was how much lighter I felt after the divorce. It was like a weight had been lifted from my shoulders. I didn't have to worry about constant snide remarks or unsupportive comments from my ex-wife anymore. I could pursue my interests without feeling guilty or ashamed. One of the things that I had always wanted to do was make music. I had always loved playing guitar, but I had never really pursued it seriously. After the divorce, I decided to take the plunge and join a band. It was scary at first, but I quickly found that I loved it. Playing music gave me a sense of freedom and creativity that I had never experienced before. I could express myself in a way that I never could with words alone. It was like a therapy session every time we played together. In addition to music, I also started exploring other creative endeavors. I took up painting and found that I had a natural talent for it. I started writing poetry and short stories, and even started a blog to share my thoughts and experiences. As I pursued these interests, I found that I was meeting new people and making friends. I had always been a bit of an introvert, but I found that I loved being around people who shared my passions. We could talk for hours about music or art or literature, and it felt like we were speaking a language that only we understood. It wasn't just creative pursuits that brought me joy, either. I started taking better care of myself, eating healthier and exercising more. I traveled to new places and tried new things. I found that life was full of possibilities, and I didn't want to miss a single one. Of course, there were still hard days. There were times when I missed my ex-wife, and I wondered what might have been if she had been faithful. But those moments were fleeting, and they were outweighed by the joy and fulfillment that I found in pursuing my passions. Looking back, I realized that my marriage was holding me back. I was living a life that wasn't truly mine, trying to please someone else instead of following my own dreams. It took my wife's infidelity to show me that I deserved better. Now, I can honestly say that I am happier than I have ever been. I have found my true self, and I am living the life that I was meant to live. I am grateful for the experience, painful though it was, because it brought me to where I am today. So if you are going through a tough time in your life, just remember that sometimes the darkest moments can lead to the brightest future. Keep moving forward, and never give up on your dreams. Who knows what amazing things might be waiting for you just around the corner. What do you think of that story? Let me know in the comments below. Story 2. My husband left me and everything in life got better. I never expected to be telling this story, but here we are. My husband of 10 years left me last year, and while it was devastating at the time, it turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me. When we first got married, things were great. We were in love, and we had big plans for our future together. We talked about starting a family, buying a house, and growing old together. But over time, things changed. My husband became distant and uninterested in our life together. He stopped communicating with me, and we grew apart. I tried to salvage our relationship, but nothing seemed to work. I suggested counseling, but he refused to go. I begged him to open up to me, but he remained closed off. Eventually, I realized that I couldn't fix our problems on my own. I had to accept that our marriage was over. The first few months after he left were rough. I felt lost and alone, and I missed him terribly. But slowly, I began to see that my life was actually getting better without him. For one thing, I had more time to focus on myself. When we were together, I was always worried about his needs and putting his wants before my own. Now that he was gone, I could finally prioritize my own happiness. I started going to the gym regularly and taking care of my body. I picked up hobbies that I had neglected for years, like painting and playing guitar. I even started traveling by myself, something I had always been too scared to do before. Another thing that improved after he left was my relationships with friends and family. When we were together, I often felt like I had to choose between spending time with him and spending time with the people I loved. But without him around, I could finally be present with the people who mattered most to me. I went on trips with my sisters and had movie nights with my friends. I reconnected with my parents, who I had grown distant from during my marriage. The biggest surprise, however, was my career. When I was married, I had a job that I hated. It paid well, but I was miserable every day. I stayed in that job because my husband wanted me to make as much money as possible. But without him around, I realized that I didn't have to sacrifice my happiness for a bigger paycheck. I quit my job and started my own business, something I had always dreamed of doing but never had the courage to pursue. Starting a business was scary, but it was also incredibly fulfilling. I worked harder than I ever had before, but it was worth it. I felt like I was finally doing something that mattered, something that was making a difference in the world. And the best part, I was my own boss. I didn't have to answer to anyone but myself. Of course, there were still hard days. There were times when I missed my husband and wished things had turned out differently. But even on those days, I knew that I was better off without him. I had a newfound sense of freedom and independence that I never would have found if we had stayed together. It's been a year since my husband left, and I'm happy to say that I'm doing better than ever. I have a thriving business, a close circle of friends and family, and a newfound sense of self. I don't know what the future holds, but I know that I'm ready for whatever comes my way. If you're reading this and you're going through something similar, I want you to know that it does get better. It's hard at first, but once you let go of what's holding you back, you'll find that the possibilities are endless. Don't be afraid to put yourself first and focus on your own happiness. You deserve it. And who knows, maybe like me, you'll find that everything in life gets better without the weight of a toxic relationship holding you down. I've learned that sometimes the things we think we want most in life can actually be holding us back. I thought I wanted a perfect marriage, but what I really needed was the freedom to be myself and pursue my dreams. It's not easy to let go of what we think we want, but sometimes it's necessary in order to find true happiness and fulfillment. So, to my ex-husband, I want to say thank you. Thank you for leaving me and allowing me to find my own path in life. I wish you all the best, but I'm also grateful that you're no longer a part of my journey. I'm excited to see where life takes me next, and I know that whatever comes my way, I'll be ready to face it with courage and determination. Sometimes you never know how toxic something is until it's over. What do you think? Let me know in the comments section. Story 3. My man cheated on me and I feel like life is over. My dude straight up cheated on me and I'm like, what the actual fuck, life? I thought we were solid, like unbreakable. We've been together for 5 years, and I honestly thought we were meant to be. We had so many dope memories together and had all these goals for the future. But one day, he comes to me and spills the tea that he cheated. I couldn't believe it. I was just in shock. How could he do this to me? I gave him everything, and he went behind my back like that. I mean, I know nobody's perfect, but damn, that's a big fucking mistake. I just feel so betrayed and hurt right now. I keep replaying it in my head, like, how long was he seeing this other girl? How could he lie to me like that? Did he even think about how I would feel? It's just like, all the trust is gone now. And to be real, I don't even know if I can forgive him for this. I feel like my whole life is over. We had plans to travel, start a family, buy a house, all that shit. And now, it's like, what's the point? How can I even think about those things when my own man can't even stay loyal to me? It's just like, why even bother? So, now I'm here, pouring my heart out to the internet. I don't really know what else to do. I'm not even sure if I want advice or if I just need to vent. But if anyone has gone through something similar, I could use some insight. How did you move on? Did you stay with your partner or kick them to the curb? I'm just lost right now, and I could use some guidance. Here are the top thread comments. 1. Hey girl, I've been there. It's like your whole world is flipped upside down. My advice, take some time for yourself. Do some self-care, hang out with your girls, and figure out what you want. If you still love him and want to work it out, then do it. But if you can't forgive him, then it's time to move on. 2. Sorry to hear that. Cheating is never okay, and it's a major breach of trust. If you decide to stay with him, make sure he's willing to put in the work to rebuild that trust. And if he's not willing to do that, then it's time to say goodbye. 3. Dump him. You deserve better. Don't let anyone treat you like you're not worth their loyalty. 4. I know it hurts right now, but remember, time heals all wounds. Take things one day at a time and don't rush yourself into any decisions. Talk to your man and figure out if this is something that can be worked out. If not, then move on. You got this. 5. I went through the same thing, and honestly, therapy helped me so much. It's hard to navigate all those emotions on your own, so having a professional to talk to can make a world of difference. 6. Girl, you're better off without him. Cheating is a major red flag, and if he can do it once, he can do it again. Don't settle for less than you deserve. 7. I'm sorry you're going through this. It's definitely not easy. But just remember, you're not alone. There are so many people who have been in your shoes and have come out on the other side stronger. 8. I know it seems like the end of the world right now, but trust me, it's not. Take some time to focus on yourself and your own happiness. If your man truly loves you, he'll work to earn back your trust. 9. Communication is key in any relationship. Talk to your man and figure out why he cheated. Was it a mistake? Was he feeling neglected? Once you know the root of the problem, you can work together to fix it. 10. As someone who's been cheated on before, I know it's not easy, but don't let this define you. You're worth so much more than someone who can't stay loyal to you. Focus on yourself and your own happiness, and everything else will fall into place. What advice would you give her? Let us know in the comments section below. Story 4. She finally left me. What took her so long? I never thought I would be in this situation. I mean, how can someone be married to a person for years and not even realize they're unhappy? Yet, that's exactly what happened to me. My wife, Sarah, left me, and I can't help but ask, what took her so long? It all started a few months ago when Sarah brought up the idea of a divorce. We had been having some problems, but I thought we could work them out. I loved her, and I didn't want to lose her. However, she was adamant about it, and we eventually came to an agreement. She would move out, and we would divide our assets fairly. It was a clean break, or so I thought. I even helped her find an apartment and paid the security deposit. I wanted her to be happy, even if it wasn't with me. But then, things took a turn. Sarah refused to leave. She kept saying that she wanted to be together and work things out. I was confused. Didn't she want a divorce? I couldn't understand why she would want to stay with me after all that had happened. To make matters worse, I found out she was sleeping with other people. It was like a punch in the gut. I couldn't believe it. She was the one who wanted the divorce, and yet she was still sleeping around. I was hurt and angry, but I didn't know what to do. I tried talking to her, but she just brushed me off. She said that she was trying to figure things out and that I needed to give her some space. It was frustrating, to say the least. One day, I had had enough. I decided to take legal action and do a formal eviction. I didn't want to, but I felt like I had no other choice. I had already given her ample time to leave, and she still refused. However, before I could file the paperwork, I had a change of heart. I realized that if Sarah wanted to stay, I couldn't force her to leave. It was her choice, and I had to respect it, even if I didn't agree with it. Instead of trying to force her out, I decided to move on with my life. I started dating again, and to my surprise, Sarah finally left. It was like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I could finally breathe again. Looking back, I realized that Sarah never really wanted to be with me. She was just scared of being alone. I think she thought that by sleeping with other people, it would make her feel better, but it only made things worse. In the end, I learned a valuable lesson. Sometimes, you can't force someone to do something they don't want to do. You can only control your own actions. I wish Sarah had been honest with me from the beginning, but I can't change the past. All I can do is move forward and hope for a brighter future. I don't hate Sarah. I still care about her, and I hope she finds happiness. I just know that it's not with me. It's time for me to focus on myself and find someone who truly wants to be with me. So, if you're in a similar situation, my advice is to let go. You can't force someone to love you, and it's not worth the pain and frustration. It may hurt at first, but in the end, it will be worth it. You deserve someone who loves you for who you are, not someone who is using you as a safety net. In conclusion, I may never know why Sarah finally left me. Maybe she realized that she couldn't keep living a lie, or maybe she finally found someone who made her happy. Whatever the reason, I'm grateful that she's finally moved on, and so have I. Now, I'm excited to see what the future holds. I've learned from my past mistakes, and I'm ready for a fresh start. I know that finding love again won't be easy, but I'm willing to put in the effort. For anyone going through a similar situation, just remember that time heals all wounds. It may not feel like it now, but things will get better. Don't give up on yourself or your happiness. Keep moving forward, and one day you'll look back and realize that you're stronger because of what you've been through. In the end, I'm grateful for Sarah and the lessons she taught me. She may not have been the one, but she helped me become the person I am today. And for that, I'll always be thankful. When you subscribe, be sure to click the notification bell. Click here for more Tangled Threads.